everybody. We're logging redwoods today. We are down in California with Schleifer Logging, and me and Gordy owns West Coast Saw. We're down here. We're going to be testing out this 592. So this is cool. This is the replacement for the Husqvarna 395. So I have a 395. I've had two of them, and I really like the saw a lot. It has a lot of power. I pretty much only ran a 42-inch bar on it. It's really great for large crane picks and just large wood in general. So we'll see how this does. It's 592, so I think they actually reduced the size a little bit. It seems like they reduced the weight quite a bit. Aesthetically, the saw looks much different than the 395. It also, they've updated the vibration systems a lot. The 395 does vibrate a lot. A couple things I've noticed right off the bat is it has a better tensioner. It's on the side cover now. So if you ever ran the 395, you had to stick your bar wrench. The tensioner was right here. Really awkward to adjust. So now it's on the side cover, so that should be a lot easier to work on. Another thing that I really like, one of my favorite things about these new Huskies is these caps are really cool. They just flip up and then they're just like threaded regular caps. So, whereas the steel caps, they have to be put in the right way. And the old Husky caps just had a slit in it. You could put a bar wrench in there, but you just rip it right out when you stuck the bar wrench in there. So I really like the gas caps, and I'm really not sure how it's gonna run. I have a 36-inch bar on it. Oh, and then also we've got Gordy's 3-point dogs. These are the first ones, right?
Yeah, the first ones we done, so they're not oxidized or anything, but yeah. These are the very first ones that we made.
So very first 3-point dogs for this model of chainsaw. I'm going to be giving the saw away. Stick to the end of the video for details on how to enter to win the saw, and you'll get these dogs too. So you have the first set of 3-point dogs West Coast Saws made for this bad boy. So we're going to get going down the hill in a minute. We're going to be falling and bucking some redwood and maybe some other stuff in there. And yeah, me and Gordy will just take turns running it, and we'll see how it cuts.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be working this whole patch right here is what he's got.
Oh, okay. Intended. Some big ones in there. Oh yeah, cool.
Quite a few in here. They're all down through there. Oh, look
wow.
Look at that one over there.
Some big redwoods in here. All right, Gordy's got the first go of this. We got this dead white fir. We're gonna get this out of the way so we don't knock it over with the redwoods. Go ahead and fire that bad boy up. How'd it cut?
Well, that's pretty good.
It looks pretty good.
Smooth.
You shrink this tree like crazy just shaving the bark. So they shave the bark in the redwoods for two reasons. One, this bark is like 4 or 5 inches thick. It's crazy. The tree gets a lot easier to see and to cut. And then also the bark is really fibrous. Actually kind of grabs your chain a little bit too. So the redwood guys, they shave the bark on these.
here.
Yeah.
And then just saw down and watch Gordy. Gordy will tell you that when you're getting close to the ground. And then just saw in maybe that far straight down, and then come back and then ream it. So your tip will be clear. Make sure you stand back enough to where you can use your arms.
Okay.
Just a little bit, so when this log drops, it doesn't slab this up.
Score this?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just into your sap, just a little bit.
Okay.
And then finish your buck.
So see, Anton was teaching me with these logs. I've seen people do this and never knew what it was for. When you, what do you call bulldogging?
Yeah, ream bucking, bulldogging, reaming.
Yeah, so what that does is it opens up, it widens this curve. So now the log is closing, because this is where the compression is, and now it's closed, but because I've been ream bucking, my saw is not pinched. I can move around in here, which is
we made
super
this
cool.
cut right here, so that when the weight of this log drops, it doesn't catch on this log, because it's so heavy, thousands of pounds, it'll slab this. So if you make just a little cut right there,
wow,
it'll just chip that little piece and won't ruin the log.
Crazy. That's awesome. I can't believe I never knew that.
Perfect. And you can see how much fiber pulled. That's why
That's amazing.
these redwoods just so much different.
They really are. That little one?
Yeah, put it right out there. It's no stuff.
Okay.
Like a minefield right here.
Okay. first time ever skidding logs. To credit to it. I used to drive dozer and stuff for a long time. Used to do big dirt work type stuff. But first time he skidded logs. Think of the Husky.
You know, I mean, it's a saw.
Honest review. Give me the
saw.
honest review.
It's heavy. I am used to running a West Coast saw 500i, and so I'm spoiled rotten. It doesn't compare to anything that I have or run.
It is stock. It's totally stock.
That's why I'm saying it's bone stock. It's not a real fair comparison. I'm a still guy. I prefer still.
Surprised we got you to run it.
Yeah, well, we kind of had to for unforeseen reasons.
Yeah.
But, you know, it did the job, and it got the trees on the ground, and, you know, I mean, it's Chevy and Ford, I guess, you know.
Everything has its place pretty much, but
yeah, I don't know too many people in our neck of the woods here that run Husqvarna professionally. There's a few, but most of the timber fallers in our area here are still fallers. They run still saws. And you know, it changes from generation to generation. When I first started in the woods 25 years ago, my first chainsaw I bought was a Husqvarna 288, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. And then I ran it for like 2 weeks, thought it was just the best, so happy with it. And then my girlfriend's dad, who was a timber faller, saw that thing in the back of my truck, and he said, "What are you doing with that?" And I said, "I'm cutting trees." And he goes, "Oh no." He said, "Try this 046 out. I just got it. It came from Shelton, Washington. It was modified by Skipworth Saw Shop in Shelton. I don't even think they're there anymore." And he said, "Try this." And I said, "Okay." So I took it to work the next day, and I never gave it back.
Never went back.
And I have been a still guy ever since.
All right. Well,
that's my honest review on Husqvarna.
Yeah, that's Anton's Husqvarna review. So you're saying that these are harder to work on than the stills?
Here he goes again, putting me on the spot.
I just thought maybe the world would want to hear what you were saying to me.
It's just really condensed. Everything's really condensed.
They're just different. Everything's different, but I'm used to this still. But it seems like to open these up, their formation of the gas tank and stuff is a lot different. Where you pull the gas tank off of that, you just got a case and a cylinder.
Are you talking about like for building it? Like porting it and stuff, or just like doing maintenance on it?
A little bit of everything. I mean, if you're going to do repairs, you got to pull all of this off. I've never pulled this apart, but
You're saying it looks pretty clean for all that bark we've been shaving?
the air cleaner actually did so. I'm thinking that that's a little bit of dust on the butterfly, but how many tanks did you put through it?
Like 3.
It's not a whole lot.
Yeah. It's hard to compare with the other saws because this one's stock and the other ones are ported.
I was saying earlier that I don't like the gas caps, how small they are. Like that hole's pretty darn small compared to the still hole's quite a bit bigger. And if you're trying to dump your gas in there.
That is interesting. I do like the caps though. I like the way these caps work. I don't like how on the full wrap handles, the handle's always in the way of the second bar nut right here.
Yeah. Well, this bar nut here is hard to get to.
Earlier models, it was in the way of the tensioning screw too.
So the tensioner's in the cover now.
They're just
in the front on the
well, but
395.
even on the earlier like 372s, see how they've got this rocked forward now?
Yeah.
Before it wasn't as forward, and so it came across your last bar nut and your tensioning screw. So you had to have your bar wrench at an angle to even get it your
How does still do it so that it's just so much easier to get to everything? They just have it behind the nuts because it's so much easier to get to the side of all that stuff than over here. And this is in the clutch cover now, the tensioner, which is a lot easier to adjust. But Gordy, you're saying you like it when it's on the actual body of the saw itself, the tensioner.
That's old school. That's old school.
Yeah.
They haven't done that in a long while.
Because you have to line it up with the bar, putting the cover on. If your tensioner isn't adjusted, it's not going to flop into the hole of your bar.
Yeah, that's the other thing about stills. The tensioner is actually in the case of the saw.
Right, not on the cover. Well, the 395, it was in the saw, but it was hard to adjust it.
Right, but this is in the cover itself, and so you can't even adjust it before you put your side cover on. You know, like on my stills, when I change my chain, take my chain off, I loosen the tensioner up quite a bit. And then I put my chain on, sit it on there. Then I put my cover on, tighten the nuts up, and then I tension the chain.
A lot of the guys got used to the 395 being like that. They don't mind.
So I need to tighten up my chain. It's gotten kind of loose. They actually did move this handlebar kind of in the middle, so I actually do have pretty good access to this one with the bar wrench. This one, and this is a skinny bar wrench, I can kind of get on it sideways. I'm not really on it that well, but it's sort of good enough actually. So this actually is better than the 395, but yeah, the stills, the handle's right here, and it's just like not in the way of anything. So definitely liking this better than the 395 for the tensioner. But yeah, it is an improvement. I'd say it makes more sense having the handlebar in between those nuts. Whew, all right, I think I'm done cutting for the day. This is my second day out here. Today was definitely a lot more straightforward for me than yesterday. Yesterday I was really like out of my element. We were way down in this hole, dropping these big, tricky redwoods uphill and stuff. Today, a little more straightforward. But anyways, yeah, I think we're about done cutting with this thing for now. I will talk to you guys about it a little more in my garage when I get home. So we're back at the shop now. Bryce here. This is Bryce and Madeline. They came by to say hi. They were helping me take this off because I have to sharpen the chain. And Bryce came by. He watches my videos and he wanted to be in a YouTube video. So do you have anything that you want to say to everybody, Bryce? Do you like chainsaws? Mm-hmm. You seem to like chainsaws. You helped take this one apart real quick. What's your dad do?
He works for Family Tree.
Yeah? So he does trees as well?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. What do you want to do when you grow up?
Same thing.
Same thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. Is there anything you want to say, Madeline? Or just say hi? Just say hi. What did you bring here? What is this?
My saw?
That's your chainsaw?
You bought it too.
You bought it? Are you serious? What kind is it?
Still in 170.
Wow, that's incredible. I like that you got the scabbard on it. That keeps it nice and safe.
The felling
Hey, look at that. You've even got the West Coast soft felling dogs.
Because I didn't like the dogs right here,
Yeah?
so I put these on.
Now does it work better?
He's got the muffler mod on her too.
Man, you are not messing around. That is really cool. Well, it looks like you're off to a good start, man. I really like your chainsaw. That's really cool. Are you really careful when you run it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wear a helmet? Mm-hmm. That's good. And your dad helps you guys climb trees with a harness too?
I
Wow.
climbed up a tree with him.
You went up with him? That is incredible.
Like I would go on one side, he would go on one side.
That's amazing. Well, thanks for bringing your saw and showing me. I really appreciate it. All right, well, thanks for helping me with my chainsaw review, guys. I appreciate you stopping by to say hi. All right, so back in my garage. That was a really fun trip. We're gonna wrap this review up right here. So my thoughts on this saw, you know, I enjoyed running this saw. I liked it. You know, down there in the Redwoods, it was a little unfair. You know, Gordy and Anton are running those ported 500Is that Gordy built, and they just kind of blow everything out of the water. So it's really not a fair comparison running this next to those things. You know, this is a pretty big saw, but you know, it's a little heavy. It's heavier than I would want to pack around on a mountain or something. But just like my 395, you know, this is probably a really good saw for a long bar. You know, big crane picks, big stumps, big trees, milling, wood, stuff like that. It's heavy. It's not as heavy as the 395. It seems to vibrate less. The bar nuts are an improvement. The gas caps are an improvement. It just, you know, I like this saw. I do. But it's still heavy. You know, my 395 is heavy. I really don't pack it around the woods. I didn't even bring it with me down to California. I love my 395. But like this one, it's just a bit heavier than I like. Gordy and Anton, they weren't super into it. Anton is just really doesn't like Husqvarna. I think the feud between Husqvarna and Stihl is stupid, honestly. I think Husky and Stihl both make really good saws, and I like all of them. This saw, I like this saw. I think it did pretty good, and it's stock. Most of my saws are modified, they're ported, or they have aftermarket parts. This has the aftermarket 3-point dogs, which you're gonna get. So I'm giving the saw away. I just don't need that many saws. I like it, but I just don't need that many saws, and I just can't afford to do a bunch of chainsaw reviews unless I get rid of these afterwards. So if you want to win this saw, all you have to do is go to guiltyoftreason.com and spend $50 or more in my store, and then you're entered for a chance to win. If you don't want to double your chances, just make a separate order. I'm gonna pick a random order is what I'm gonna do. And you'll get Gordy's first ever 3-point dogs for this model. They're gonna come with it, which is pretty fun. You'll have a little piece of history there. So I like this saw, but like I said, I've already got a 395 and I'm really not getting rid of that thing because it's had a lot of work done to it and now they're hard to find. And these are kind of hard to find still. Another cool thing, it's got a real transparent gas tank, which is nice. It's got nice springs. It's, you know, this saw, I like that it's stiff enough. It's not jiggly like some of the newer saws. It's not too jiggly, but it's not too stiff. We were cutting some pretty big wood. Also, that was square ground chain. That was sharper than factory, just new chain. So, but I like the saw. I thought it was a trooper. I appreciate you guys watching. I look forward to doing more saw reviews. What saw should I do next? I think I should probably do some smaller saws for like homeowners and stuff. This is big saw. This is the first saw that I'm giving away that I'm kind of a little bummed about. I kind of want to keep it, but I just can't justify keeping the saw. But I liked it. I thought it was cool. So if you want it, go to guiltytreason.com and just buy anything worth $50 or more. You have a chance to win this saw. Oh, I'll ship internationally as well. If you're in a different country, you're still eligible. But from whenever I upload this video, it'll be a week from that date that you can make an order within that week. At $50 or more at my website. It's like t-shirts and stuff. And this bad boy can be yours. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, you can do it at patreon.com/treason. I'm trying to do like weekly safety meeting videos on there if you're interested. But yeah, just thanks for watching. And yeah, hopefully you win this saw, Husqvarna 592 XP.